Hey, Rolling Out family, welcome to another episode of Rolling Out Music. We're your host, Eddie Precise Lamar. Today we're joined by none other than Tariq Black Thought Trotter of the legendary Roots Crew, MC, actor, author, producer, a true pillar of hip hop culture. Whether it's rocking late night stages with the Roots or lacing verses that leave the culture in awe, this brother has done it all. We're catching up ahead of their highly anticipated return to Ravinia Festival, one of the group's favorite spots to perform, and we're digging into the legacy, the lyricism, and the energy that keeps the Roots at the top of their game. Let's get into it. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, brother. Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Again, happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, likewise. Happy Juneteenth. Happy
Yes,
Juneteenth.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, you've had an extremely consistent and prolific career. When you think about your journey from ciphers in Philly to rocking stages around the world, what continues to drive you creatively?
I feel like, continually driven by just like the urge to serve, right? I feel like, what the opportunity that I've been blessed with as an artist is a position of servitude, right? I perform in many ways a service, to the community, to various communities. So yeah, it's a responsibility that, I've never really taken lightly. Yeah, that I also look at as a blessing. So it's what keeps me going, and it's what keeps my music and my writing feeling, I guess, fresh. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. So even along those same sounds, the group in itself has a dynamic sound as a live band. How do you keep evolving without losing the essence of what made people love you in the first place?
I think the core, like the essence, the foundation of what made folks fall in love with the Roots is the relationship that Questlove and I share. I think as founder members of this band that's been around for 30 plus years, it speaks to just the real meaning of brotherhood and just full functionality as a unit. The fact that we're still here, you know what I mean, in terms of live musicians, in terms of black bands. Yeah, there aren't many who've had a roots run.
No, not at all. When
Yeah,
you
so but I'm
say
sorry not to cut you off, but that said, so the more time we spend together, I feel like the tighter we get. 15 or 16 years ago when this Tonight Show opportunity presented itself, I think we've just grown tighter since then because, from that point on, since Tonight Show, we've been playing together in some way, shape, or form pretty much every day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that also contributes to the tightness, the evolution.
wow, so that's been 15 years now, the Tonight Show?
Yeah. We started '09. Well, at that point it was late night, I think for the first 5 years or so. But yeah, now we've been about 11, almost 12 years as Tonight Show.
You're returning to Ravinia this summer. It's a place that
Yes.
clearly holds some significance for you and the group. What is it about performing in Ravinia that keeps you coming back?
Ravinia, performing there just feels so super authentically Chicago, in a way that, I've always looked at Chicago as a sister city to Philadelphia anyway. You know what I mean? Tough streets. I feel like if I'm from the south side of Philly, if I was from Chicago, I'd be from the south side of Chicago. And, I feel like they're almost interchangeable. And the Chi was actually the first place I ever traveled when I left the city of Philly as a small child. But yeah, we've always just had an affinity for that place. So many friends and friends who've become family and extended family are from there or have roots there. No pun intended. So yeah, it always feels like a second homecoming when we play anywhere in Chicago. But Ravinia, yeah, it just feels like the real Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. So last year's show at Ravinia was unbelievable. People are still talking about it. You know,
Wow.
what can fans expect from this year's performance? You got any surprises?
I hate to say no surprises, but sometimes the surprises are also a surprise to me. You know what I mean? We come ready to play and ready to improvise, and there's no telling you who's in town. Like I said, I got lots of friends and extended family, from Chicago or either still in Chicago, and who knows, man? You like Saba Pivot might pop out, Common might. I mean, I've got so it's really no telling. Yeah.
So, I'm in this clubhouse group called ADHD. We talk about all things hip hop. Your
Okay.
name always comes up when we talk about alien lyricists, the MCs that sound like they're not even from this planet. In your opinion, who do you think is an alien lyricist?
I think, man, Styles P is an alien lyricist. Ghostface, another alien, in my opinion. Rock Marciano, or maybe he just goes by Rock Mars now, but he's always been, somebody that, what I'm saying? Those who know, if you know, cats who can rap real good know the other cats that could rap real good. And that's who we sort of, that's who we checking for. Yeah. Like that's the real competition. And sometimes it's unspoken, you know what I mean? But yeah, some of those guys that I just named are definitely, otherworldly.
Brother, you've written books, plays,
Yeah.
bars, approach each medium differently while staying true to who you are.
I've tried to. I've tried to, I think though the medium is ever evolving, no matter which tool I sort of utilize, it's a continuation of the same story. You know what I mean? So sometimes you reach the full extent, like within one medium, like you go as far as you're able to go with your storytelling, as a musician, and it's time to pick up the camera, or it's time to write a screenplay, or it's time to take it to the theatrical stage, or whatever you need to do to sort of continue to just to continue the process, to continue to push the needle forward. So it's been a blessing to be able to cross disciplines, right, and to go from strength to strength in that way.
So 3 decades in, your relevancy has not gone anywhere. What advice would you give to younger artists trying to build a legacy that lasts in today's industry climate?
I would advise younger artists to be mindful of that, to be mindful of legacy, and to be mindful of, just the moves you make, the friends you make, the relationships you build, the bridges you burn, you know what I'm saying? And the effect that all those things, sort of have a little further down the line. And I would say, be observant, like study the game, study the culture, study the timeline of those of us who have gone before you, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? A lot of sacrifice has been made. So, younger artists coming up don't have to sort of do the same thing and pay the same dues in the same way that folks from my graduating class, you know what I mean? So, yeah, receive that. Yeah.
Brother, it's truly an honor to be speaking with you right now, Black Thought. Thank you so much for joining us here, Rolling Out.
The honor's all mine. The pleasure's all mine, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Rolling Out family. Don't forget the Roots at Ravinia on Saturday.
Yes,
Get
sir.
your tickets. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. Bring your energy and prepare for a night of real music. This has been Rolling Out Music with Eddie Precise Lamar. And as I always say, stay focused, positive, and productive. Peace.
Peace, y'all.